This morning, Ukraine attacked two important Russian locations, Balashikha and Kaluga. The attack caused several losses, including the breakdown of Russia's long-range communication system. In this video, you will know how Ukraine carried out this attack and what damage Russia has suffered. At 8:57 a.m., the morning quiet near the Balashikha military district was broken. The operation began not with a conventional artillery barrage, but with a multi-layered strike combining air and ground assets to overwhelm Russian defenses. Ukrainian F-16 Ss, flying at a low altitude of 200 feet to evade radar, provided top cover while releasing defensive flares. The primary strike involved R-360 Neptune missiles, adapted for land attack roles, and launched from over 95 miles away, targeting pre-identified command centers, fuel depots, and air defense sites. Simultaneously, reconnaissance drones saturated the area, feeding targeting data while actively jamming Russian radar systems, effectively blinding the local air defense network before the missiles arrived. On the ground, the assault commenced. Stealthy, low-profile Leopard unmanned ground vehicles, UGVs, advanced toward fortified Russian bunkers. Equipped with mine detection sensors and jammers, their task was to clear a path and disrupt local sensor networks for the main armored column. Moments after the initial missile impacts ignited fuel depots and knocked command centers offline, a strategic breach in the Russian lines was achieved. Exploiting the opening, Ukrainian ground forces advanced at 9:15 a.m. Polish-made PT-91 Twardy main battle tanks pushed forward from the southeast, their advance screened by the Leopard UGVs. These robotic platforms continued to identify buried explosives, relay firing coordinates to rear artillery, and maintain a jamming screen that created confusion among the defenders. Behind this armored spearhead, infantry teams moved through underground maintenance corridors and along shattered walkways. They used small first-person view, FPV drones, to scout ahead, identifying enemy positions and guiding their movements with precision. This was not a brute force assault, but a methodical, technologically integrated advance. Russia's response was swift. T-80 BVM tanks and MTLB armored fighting vehicles deployed from the northern sectors, attempting to establish overlapping fields of fire between warehouses and old housing blocks. However, this static defense was immediately challenged. Ukrainian loitering munitions, guided by thermal signatures, descended between buildings to strike Russian command vehicles, fracturing communication links and unit cohesion. Close quarters firefights erupted at distances under 100 yards, as tank shells ricocheted off buildings and the whine of drone motors filled the air. In this chaotic urban environment, Ukraine's adaptability and speed proved decisive against Russia's heavier forces, quickly turning a mechanized push into a close-quarters battle where they dictated the pace. By 9:32 a.m., as Ukrainian units pushed deeper into Balashikha, Russia launched its first major aerial counterattack. A pair of Mi-35M helicopter gunships and Su-25SM Frogfoot strike jets scrambled from the Bogorodsk airbase, 25 miles away, to halt the Ukrainian armored advance near a collapsed tram depot in Sector 5. Ukraine's air defense network detected the approach almost instantly. A German-made Iris-T SLM system, networked with reconnaissance drones, acquired the helicopters at a range of 9 miles and launched 2 missiles. Within 90 seconds, both gunships were struck, spiraling into a tree line in a series of explosions. The Su-25S continued their treetop-level approach, using the terrain to mask their radar signature. However, a pair of Ukrainian F-16 SS, circling at 15,000 feet, had already acquired them. Using beyond visual range AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles, they engaged the strike jets. One Su-25 broke off its attack, dumping flares and pulling east, while the other was hit directly, crashing into a warehouse district. The airspace over Balashikha had become a lethal, multi-layered environment. Ukrainian drones at 1,000 feet fed targeting data to Iris-T batteries and F-16S, creating a dome of air denial that neutralized Russia's attempt to regain control. With their air support nullified, Russian forces resorted to massed artillery. From concealed positions, two S-3 Akatsiya self-propelled howitzers and BM-30 Smerch rocket systems unleashed a heavy barrage aimed at severing Ukraine's logistical corridor. The initial salvos were effective, cratering roads and destroying supply trucks. Ukraine had anticipated this. Reconnaissance drones with thermal sensors tracked the incoming shells, pinpointing their origins. This data was instantly relayed to a counter-battery network. RM-70 Vampire rocket systems, positioned safely out of range, launched coordinated strikes on the identified positions. Simultaneously, UJ-22 kamikaze drones used the terrain and smoke for cover, striking the Russian batteries from unexpected angles. Within 7 minutes, two Russian artillery positions were silenced. With their rear corridor secure, Ukrainian forces pressed their advantage. The next objective was a suspected command post in the subterranean levels of Building 8. At 10:41 a.m., a special operations team infiltrated the area through drainage culverts under the cover of smoke and electronic jamming. Tiny drones mapped the building's interior, and once the perimeter was clear, robotic demolition units placed and detonated shaped charges against the sub-levels. The command node collapsed without causing a total structural failure. The engagement lasted less than 15 minutes, but its effect was decisive. Russian communications in the sector went dark. Russia attempted a final counterattack, with T-80 BVM tanks surging southward in a pincer movement. They were met by a prepared Ukrainian ambush. Low-flying FPV drones struck the lead tanks, while PT-91S, positioned in a triangle clamp formation at intersections, opened a devastating crossfire. The Russian advance stalled and disintegrated into a retreat. As Russian units tried to pull back, Ukrainian Bukovel and Banshee 7 EW vehicles severed their communications. Deception drones spoofed Russian radars, leading to incidents of friendly fire. Snipers and grenadiers positioned along the M7 highway turned every exit into a kill zone. The withdrawal collapsed into a rout. The battle for Balashikha was over. Moscow's eastern gate had been strategically dismantled. The wreckage marked not just victory, but transformation in modern warfare. The decapitation at Kaluga, blinding the command network. Hours earlier, another critical operation had targeted Russia's command and control network. At 3:42 a.m. in the forests west of Kaluga, a Russian satellite relay station responsible for coordinating long-range fire missions came under attack. The operation began with a saturation strike of 24 loitering munitions and 6 Vilka-M precision-guided rockets. The initial barrage served as a diversion. High-altitude drones mapped the compound's defenses, while Ukrainian EW trucks flooded Russian frequencies, scrambling the guidance links of their automated air defenses. Russia's Tor M2 and Pantsir-S1 systems fired dozens of interceptors, but they were targeting decoys and electronic phantoms, revealing their positions and wasting munitions. The main strike was delivered by a Ukrainian BM-30 Smerch launcher, positioned 31 miles away. At 3:47 a.m., it fired 6 Vilka-M rockets, each programmed to hit the central coordination node. A Russian Zoopark 1M counter-battery radar detected the launches and directed a retaliatory barrage, but the Ukrainian crew had already executed a shoot-and-scoot maneuver, leaving the position empty. As the Vilka-M rockets approached, they executed evasive maneuvers to defeat Russian interceptors. 4 of the 6 rockets penetrated the defenses, striking the satellite uplink dome and the central data bunker at 4:09 a.m. As they impacted, a synchronized ground assault began. A 12-man Ukrainian infantry unit, supported by armed robotic vehicles, advanced on the compound. The infantry used mortars to suppress defensive positions, while the robots used shaped charges and an EMP device to destroy backup power and communication systems. To prevent aerial interference, Ukrainian fighters established a temporary no-fly zone, driving off Russian Su-30 SM jets that scrambled to respond. Within 38 minutes, the operation was complete. The Kaluga satellite relay station was destroyed, effectively blinding Russia's long-range artillery command across a critical axis. Like the Balashikha operation, Ukrainian forces executed a clean withdrawal. The success of these coordinated strikes called into question the viability of Russia's static, layered defense strategy in an era of drone swarms, precision missiles, and integrated electronic warfare. What was once considered a secure asset had been dismantled with precision and speed. The sophisticated, multi-domain attacks on Balashikha and Kaluga represent more than just a successful military operation. They signal a potential turning point in modern warfare. By seamlessly integrating unmanned vehicles, precision missiles, and advanced electronic warfare, Ukrainian forces demonstrated how technology and strategy can overcome a numerically superior adversary's static defenses. The operations not only inflicted significant material and command and control damage, but also exposed deep vulnerabilities in Russia's defensive posture. What we have witnessed is a clear example of how the battlefield of the 21st century is evolving. For more in-depth analysis of military technology, strategy, and geopolitical events shaping our world, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from the front lines of modern conflict.